Michelle, did you know the Super Bowl is the biggest game of the year?
I did. Did you know that it's also the beginning of the spring real estate market?
I didn't know that.
It is. And I'd like to give 3 things to help people put their house on the market and make the most money.
Chicken wings involved?
My name is Michelle, and I'm a longtime realtor from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And I'm her husband, Mark. I've spent more than 40 years as a TV news anchor and reporter.
Together, we've started a podcast called Let's Talk,
where we dive deeper into everyday topics that matter to you.
And we have fun doing it.
So what are we waiting for? Let's talk. So this guy was really excited. He had just won a ticket to the Super Bowl. He gets to the game, and the seat is way at the top, way in the back. He can barely see the field. He is so disappointed. So he scouts the field and sees an empty seat right next to the field. He goes down there. There's an older man sitting next to the seat, and the guy says, "Is this seat taken?" And the older man says, "No, that person will not be here at the game." "Oh, why would somebody miss the biggest game of the year, the Super Bowl?" the guy says. "Well, this was my wife's seat, and we came to the Super Bowl every year since we've been married, and she recently passed away." The guy says, "I'm so sorry to hear that. Don't you have a friend or a relative that can sit with you during the game?" And the guy said, "No, they're all at the funeral."
It's kind of morbid.
Yeah. It is kind of funny, too.
It is funny, but, Mark's usually the dad joke guy.
All right, big game coming up. Who are you rooting for?
Well, you know me. I'm not rooting for anybody. You got
to have a team. Hey, hang on. You do have a team. They're not in the Super Bowl. Your sweater has a big blue star on it.
There's a story behind that.
Right. So you're America's team. You're Dallas Cowboys.
I'm really not. But I was at Lowe's last week wearing this sweater, and a guy stopped me in the parking lot and said, "Oh, you're a Cowboys fan." And I was like, "No. Why?" And he said, "Well, your shirt." And I was like, "Oh." And that was the first time.
And go, "Oh, okay, that's what
I just bought this because I like the star. So, whatever.
Right. All right. So who would your team be? Do you know who's even playing in the Super Bowl?
Yes, I know who's playing.
Okay, who? I'm quizzing you here now.
The boys always quiz me too. The LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. They didn't even know that I knew they were the Bengals, but I did.
Yeah. Well, did you know that we almost came close to rooting for the Bengals years ago because we almost came that close to moving to Cincinnati almost 25 years ago, that close to that. And just think, our boys all went to the University of Oklahoma, the Sooners, and I can't say the word hate. They extremely disliked the Ohio State University Buckeyes.
Right. That makes a lot of sense to me. Like, what the hell is a Buckeye anyway?
Right. We make fun of them now, but just think they could have gone to OSU, not Oklahoma State University, but Ohio State. Wow. They could have been Buckeyes.
We were saved from ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to root for, did you say, the Bengals?
So, yes, because you said you're going to root for the Rams.
Yeah. You know that I'm a little surprised because I thought, since you're from L.A.,
right,
and I used to live there during the college years in L.A.
Mark's wild and crazy college years.
Yeah, you know what? You were in first grade when I was in college.
So
okay,
gross.
Yeah. Okay, that's another podcast. So I'm rooting for. I like most of the L.A. teams, not all of them. I like most of them, and I'm surprised that you wouldn't root for them. But why are you rooting for?
Because you're rooting for the Rams. I always go against you.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a bet.
Okay.
It's a bet. So when I win, Mark's going to have to do something special for me.
Okay, game on.
Okay.
Bengals and the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Perfect.
Okay, so I didn't know this. The day after the Super Bowl is the unofficial beginning of the real estate season.
Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because it's the beginning of the spring real estate market. That's when people start really thinking, hey, I got to move. I want to move. I'm getting a new job, which is really happening a lot right now. And so it kind of perks people up and they get ready to get their houses on the market.
Okay. So you mentioned 3 things to help you sell your house and get the best price. And number 1, I'll kind of lead you with this here because you're the realtor, you're the expert, you're the veteran. I'm not. So I can't give advice because I would get in trouble or you would get in trouble.
You're not going to get in trouble,
okay.
But.
Don't take my advice. No. Take her advice. Number one, do your research to get the best listing price.
Yeah, you want to make sure. When people call me initially to put their houses on the market, they're so funny because they're always like, "How much can we get for my house? How much more?" Like if I talk to them a year or two before.
Well, especially during the last couple of years.
You're going to make more money for sure. So usually we'll come over to their house, give them a CMA, comparative market analysis, look over what things have been selling for in their neighborhood, which sometimes can be a very few amount because, it's kind of it's a hot real estate market. Things are selling fast, but there's not a lot on the market. So when you pull your comps, you have to get a little bit creative. But people are definitely making more money on their house.
So if it's such a hot real estate market, which it has been for the last year and a half, 2 years, why not just put that price up there sky high and somebody will buy it anyway for that and you'll make a lot more money.
Right. Well, some people are doing that. And by the grace of God, if they get their price, they get their price. That's great. But what they're doing is most of the time they're doing appraisal waivers too. So if you're going to be buying that house for over that price, you're going to have to do an appraisal waiver to get the house.
What is the appraisal waiver?
It's when you get an appraisal. If you're not paying cash, the bank's going to have you do an appraisal, and then they're going to come in and let's just say you're buying a house for $300,000 and it only appraises for $280,000, $290,000. Let's just be reasonable, and you're as a buyer. You're going to be asked to waive that appraisal, or pretty much what they're saying is you got to come up with the extra $10,000.
Right.
Yeah. The seller's not going to do that.
Right. And I've seen examples where people, homeowners would put the price up really high thinking, that it'll sell, I'll make that much money, and they don't get that much traffic or interest in the house.
Right. I know it's a weird thing, but you should really try to nail your price. Usually when I go in, I have an idea in my mind what I can get for that house. And a lot of times I'll nail it. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm just saying I do my homework, and I always try to help my sellers get the most out of it. I really do.
And during this market where it's really hot, if you nail that price, and I've seen this happen watching you get a lot of interest in that, and then you could get multiple bids.
Up. Yeah, it goes up. Price goes up, which is great. So in order to get the best price for your house, the second thing I do is I like to come over and help stage it. So I have a stager. My company supplies me with that. And she goes in and she's a bad guy. And she tells them what to move, what to keep, because you're going to be moving anyways. Okay, you're going to be boxing things up. So you don't have to go buy new furniture or, rent furniture. You just have to declutter your house. Declutter. Make it look good. You're going to be moving anyways. So
again, playing the devil's advocate there, why would you need to do that if somebody's going to buy your house anyway without spending that time?
Well, you're going to want to make your house look as great as possible to get the top dollar.
Now,
do you want to sell your house right now?
No, there are things. Now, for example, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see this. I have a map. This is my office where I do all my work here. Would that map need to come down?
Yes. This is not his office. This is Tommy's bedroom.
Tommy hasn't been here for years.
Tommy, he ruined your bedroom.
Right.
But that's true. You transform this into a studio, which is great. But, the colors and
so
the map's
what color? I'm colorblind. What color did I paint it?
It's pink, Mark. Bright pink.
No, if you're listening to this, please say it's not pink.
It's not
right?
pink.
Okay.
It's not pink. It is like dark gray.
Right.
Yeah, it's dark.
So you're saying paint it more of a neutral color.
Yeah, neutral colors. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't take a rocket scientist.
Number 2, and the last one now, it's to do a pre-home inspection. I've heard of home inspections during the process of selling and buying a home, but a pre-home inspection.
Right. The only reason why I was putting that in there right now is I did have a seller do that this last summer, and then when I listed it in the fall and we got an offer and the buyer did their inspection, really, there was only one thing, and this was a big house. I think the master bathroom had a leak in the faucet. That was it. And it just made the sale that much better. We did get full price for that house, okay? And the buyer was so much happier because she knew she was getting a perfect house for the money that she was paying, which was top dollar.
So using our house as an example again, if and when
we will do a pre-inspection
Right.
because
Right.
we raised 3 sons in this house.
Right.
It's
What?
it could be a disaster. I'm
Right.
just kidding because I am going to sell it. It's on the golf course. I'm selling it right now. Just kidding. I'm not moving.
Yeah, I mean, our boys, they grew up here, so there are certain things that we don't know about that we may need to fix beforehand rather than be surprised later on during the process.
Yeah, it's simple. This is easy. I always tell people, the buying of a house, if you have a good representative that's helping you go through it, it shouldn't be that difficult.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, recapping the top 3 things, one of the 3 things to research to get the best price to list your house, declutter your house, do some staging to make it look better, and also do a pre-home inspection so there are no surprises later on.
Right. But do note, you don't need to do a pre-home inspection in this market right now, only if you really feel like you don't want any surprises. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
No, I hope I win this Super Bowl now. Now we have a contest going on.
Can you remember who you're rooting for?
Really? I know. The reason he says that is because I used to say I'm voting for, which I know that sounds like a dumb blonde joke, and it does.
She'd always say, I'm going to vote for the Cincinnati Bengals. No. It's not that. You're rooting for.
Yeah. But for the record, I am more a baseball person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
Well, which baseball season's coming up? Can't wait for that.
Go Dodgers.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm with her with that.
Yeah.
Go Dodgers.
True.
But for this big game, go Rams.
Go Bengals.
We hope you've enjoyed our podcast and thank you for spending your time with us. We'll see you next time for another episode of Let's Talk.